I'd like to say good morning, Bimblers, but it's not anymore. It's 1:30. I left my house in good time. It's a Sunday, so the trains don't start until about 10 o'clock, and I got on the first train I could to Chester. But the train I was supposed to get on to come here, to Pensarn, they wouldn't let me on. Too many bikes. That's 4 bikes on an Avanti West Coast. So we had to wait an hour for a transport for Wales, which had 9 bikes on it, which apparently isn't too many. It was awful getting here, very crowded, and I don't think it was worth it. So I hope you want to come and have a look at some churches. Let's bimble.
Magnetically brought me to you. Visions that cut through the cold to my heart.
Being that we've started our bimble in Pensarn, it'd be rude if we didn't stop off at this little church. It was built in 1878 by a Welsh fella that moved to Liverpool. His name was Richard Owens. He was actually born in Pwllheli, and he moved to Liverpool to become an architect. One of his first jobs was for a company that used to buy rural land and develop it, and he was in charge of measuring it and designing some of the infrastructure. Of an evening, he used to go to the Institute of Engineering in Liverpool to learn how to be an architect. In 1862, he became a freelance architect, and he designed the Welsh Calvinistic Methodist Church in Everton. He went on to design 250 other Welsh non-conformist churches around England and Wales. We've actually visited some of his work in a previous bimble, only it wasn't a church. You might remember from my Peaky bimble that we visited the Welsh houses in Toxteth. Well, Richard Owens designed those. That's where they filmed Peaky Blinders, on Powys Street. And just round the corner, Madryn Street, that's where Ringo Starr was born. It's a small bimbling world, isn't it? But there's another church on this road, only 1.6 miles in that direction. Let's bimble.
As if this was love that I felt, falling for somebody else, taking my eyes from the ground, turning my heart upside down. As if this could change all the past, fixing the bruise from the last time that I felt anything. As if this was love that I felt, as if this was somebody else. Brought out some colourful sparks, brought back to light from the dark, broke out in shimmering waves to my heart. Sepia tint but the same, familiar in simplified ways, broke down the lily white scars to my heart.
The cagoul's off, bimblers. It's rather a nice day today. Put some suntan lotion on to save my ginger skin. It's a Sunday, it's Father's Day, but I did Father's Day on Saturday because I knew the weather would be nice today, so I could come and do a bimble for you lot. What I like about doing these bimbles and going to all these different churches is you go to one in an unassuming location like Towyn near Rhyl. Did you used to go on your holidays to Towyn, stop in a static caravan and go to the Black Cat amusement arcade and play whack-a-croc? Well, I did. But would you believe it that St Mary's Church here in Towyn was designed by a behemoth of Victorian architecture? It was designed by a George Edmund Street, and he was born in Essex, in 1824. I'm sure he didn't speak like that. His first job in architecture was working for Sir George Gilbert Scott as an improver, if he could do such a thing. Bit of a tall order if you ask me. He would take Sir George Gilbert Scott's designs and improve them, make them more cost effective or more intricate, or do them in a more clever clogs way, because he was a right clever clogs. His big major project on his own was designing the Royal Courts of Justice in London. That's the High Courts and the Courts of Appeal, not the criminal courts. That's the Old Bailey just down the road. It's where you have all the libel cases, like Rebecca Vardy versus Colleen Rooney or Wagatha Christie, or the Julian Assange US extradition case, or Morrissey versus Mike Joyce, where the judge described Morrissey as devious, truculent and unreliable. In 1866, those High Court judges wanted a new courthouse, and they wanted George Edmund Street to design the outside and Charles Barry to design the inside. Charles Barry designed the Houses of Parliament, lest we forget. But George Edmund Street ended up doing the lot, inside and out. Speaking of Charles Barry, he's buried at Westminster Abbey, next to Sir George Gilbert Scott, and buried adjacent to those two chaps is George Edmund Street, and he designed St Mary's Church here in Towyn in 1873, and it's all dedicated to St Mary. That's Jesus' mum. It's a celeb fest round here. But speaking of walking on water, that's Bimble.
Easiest to make. Aim for the stars, it's yours, just wait. You do your best along the way. But it's those arms that told me I don't care if it's yours or mine. Without you, it's just a waste of time. You showed me from the start, such inspirations need a heart to bring you round. Yours. Big aspirations need a heart to hold you down. Though some get lost along the way, as sure as night designed the day, as long as I'm allowed to say, it's my heart that told me I don't care, you just disagree. Without you it wasn't meant to be. You showed me from the start, such inspirations need a heart to bring you round. It could be yours. Big aspirations need a heart to hold you, heart to hold you. I don't care, you can say what you like. I'm a peace-loving person, but I know I'm right. It's as easy as right from wrong. I'm a lover, not a fighter, so I wrote this song. You showed me from the start, such inspirations need a heart to bring you round. It could be yours.
If you were going to ask me, Bimblers, how I would like to get from New Brighton on the Wirral to here in Rhyl, my first choice would obviously be my bicycle. That'd be a beautiful ride, wouldn't it? But my second choice would be by Hovercraft. A fanciful idea, but not that fanciful in 1962. On the 20th of July 1962, they ran the first ever commercial passenger hovercraft service between here at Horton's Nose in Rhyl over to the Wirral near New Brighton at something called Moreton Beach. It was all run by British United Airways, and it was scheduled for 12 trips a day for 54 days. Unfortunately, they only had trips for 19 days. That was due to the weather and some engine troubles. The last trip between Moreton Beach and here at Horton's Nose in Rhyl happened on the 14th of September at 1:15. When they got halfway, one of the engines failed. They went on a bit further. Then the other engine failed. They managed to limp their way back to Rhyl, where the hovercraft hit the sea wall. Not a very elegant re-entry. Fortunately, nobody was hurt in the incident, but they did cancel the last 2 days. If you're interested in that hovercraft, you could visit the Hovercraft Museum in Hampshire. They have the turbine. And I'm very sorry, Bimblers, if we're ever in Hampshire, we're going to have to make a visit. This Bimbler loves a hovercraft.
Without you, it wasn't meant to be. You showed me from the start. Such inspirations need a heart to bring you round. It could be yours. Big aspirations need a heart to hold you. Heart to hold you. I don't care, you can say what you like. I'm a peace-loving person, but I know I'm right. It's as easy as right from wrong. I'm a lover, not a fighter, so I wrote this song. You showed me from the start. Such inspirations need a heart to bring you round. It could be yours. Big aspirations need a heart to hold you. Heart to hold you down. From the start, such inspirations need a heart to bring you round. It could be yours. Big aspirations need a heart to hold you. Heart to hold you down.
And so, Bimblers, we reach our final portage, St Thomas's Church here in Rhyl. I have an hard time with Rhyl. There's lots of history for me to tell you about, but not a lot for me to show you. You see, in Rhyl, when they build something new, they get rid of the old one. But not so with St Thomas's Church, because it's built right next door to the old church, the Holy Trinity Church. In 1845, they built a new railway between Chester and Holyhead, and they put a stop here in Rhyl, and all those Victorians started coming to Rhyl, you know, to bathe in the sea and drink seawater. Apparently they used to do that, and just promenade up and down the promenade. The influx of all those holidaymakers meant they needed more churches and a bigger C of E church. So they built St Thomas's Church right next door to the Holy Trinity Church, but they didn't knock down the Holy Trinity Church. But who built St Thomas's Church? Well, it's another behemoth of Victorian architecture. In fact, it's the Godzilla of Victorian architecture, Sir George Gilbert Scott. Some of his works would include the University of Glasgow, Leeds General Infirmary, St Mark's Church in Worsley, and the Albert Memorial. There's another one of his churches that we visited in Medemby, Bimble, at Trevant. I think it's called Trevant. I've not got it wrote down phonetically in my big book of Bimble. Sir George Gilbert Scott started building St Thomas's Church in 1860, and he finished it off in 1862. Well, they opened the church. He kept adding little bits. He added the clock and the tower. And then in 1910, one of his sons came and added some more bits to it. Not only was Sir George Gilbert Scott a prolific architect, he also had prolific underpants. Rocket fuel down them. All of his sons became famous architects, building all kinds of nice churches. And his grandson, well, he became Sir Giles Gilbert Scott, the fellow that designed Battersea Power Station and the Forth Road Bridge and the red telephone box. I'd like to thank Sir George Gilbert Scott and his underpants for giving me something to film here in Rhyl.